If you're just joining us, welcome. If you're rejoining us, welcome back to the English National Championships. Umpire Kim Mudge on screen, assisted by Chloe Ireland. I'm your commentator Fraser Riley, and I'm joined in the commentary booth today by Colin Wilson. Colin, great to work with you for the first time.
Great to see you, Fraser.
You're the action.
Now please
I've
welcome
heard you
our
and now
players.
seen you up here.
First
Oh,
up,
that's great.
T.Jarvis.
We're beginning here with the second of the men's singles semi-finals. On screen, T.Jarvis, the best 22-year-old in the country by quite some way.
And Tom is up against D.Macbeath.
About to come out the players' tunnel. Colin, just as a sort of final preparation to being made, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, well,
the very best
David
of luck
seeded
to
fifth,
both
Tom
players.
seeded fourth. I think this could be the closest of all the matches that they've played today. They know each other reasonably well. A little handshake there. Tom's just coming back from a difficult hip injury. They've both had some difficulties with that. Both played in Germany, both been playing in Sweden. A lot of similarities between these two players. I saw the way that D.Macbeath went past Connor Green in the corner table yesterday. Yeah. Connor, great up-and-comer. David, such a smooth backhand, very mature game, 30 years old now. I'm going to take Tom, the younger man, 22 years old. But, yeah, it's only because he's had such a quick recovery from his injury.
Yes,
but I'll go for that. But it's going to be a close one. It could be the closest so far today.
Absolutely. I think that the crowd will be hoping for a more close affair than what we saw between Bagley and Sam Walker. There's a 4-0 clean sweep there for the top seed. Of course, Liam Pitchford and Paul Drinkall not participating this year. So Walker advancing to the final. Who will face him? Will it be T.Jarvis, the youngster, or D.Macbeath?
Okay, and then we've got Emma Vickers that's coaching Dave. Emma I was commentating with in the first women's semi-final, so there's Emma supporting David as ever.
And I believe T.Jarvis' dad in the corner, who likes to coach him at the English Nationals, I've noticed.
Yeah. So Dad, always cracking the jokes.
Yeah.
But knows a lot about his physical, and he's helped his son come back from a difficult injury. And so let's see what both of these men can do now. And they'll be challenging, well, they are challenging for a place against Sam Walker in the final of the championship.
You can see both shake-handed, right-handed attacking players. Explosive. Both with strong backhand flicks. With D.Macbeath standout shot. You can see there T.Jarvis using the new Stiga Cyber Shape technology, which was made famous by Trulls Morregard, also Stiga sponsored. What a World Championships he had, and I know Tom's really good friends with Trulls. Not a bad player to be able to practice with, is it? Yeah. D.Macbeath, like you say, also playing in Sweden.
Yeah, so originally from Southampton, now from Nottingham. Meanwhile, Tom's been away at Oxenhausen, playing in Germany. Neither have won the men's singles championships here before. So it's a big chance for them with both Liam Pitchford and Paul Drinkall out. Paul with an injury, and Liam is played into a later called World Table Tennis star contender in Qatar. So he's had to go out there, flying out. And that gives Sam Walker a chance. He's made it to the final. And also these two gentlemen here as well. It's their big chance to shine while the big cats are away.
Absolutely. When the cats are away, the mice come out and play. I mean, these aren't mice. These are true men of table tennis.
Didn't Sam play unbelievably well against Andrew Bagley?
Oh, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Sunk the three-time English champion 4 straight games.
Let's go. Jarvis to serve.
So here we are, T.Jarvis to begin.
One love.
Tight serve to the net. D.Macbeath has a very strong Chiquita flick, so Tom's going to be wanting to serve tight, Probably preferably more to the forehand to remove that weapon of Macbeth.
Well, you see Tom serving down the line a bit. Yeah, because of that.
because of that, exactly.
Look at that beautiful smooth backhand that we were talking about with David.
One, two. One, two.
See that reverse pendulum serve of Dave Macbeth there. Very tricky to do anything with. Such a fluid action. It's quite similar to the Sharath Ashanta Kamal reverse pendulum. Very famous Indian player.
3-2.
Well, they're both throwing the same serve, aren't they? It's become such a popular serve. What used to be the pendulum serve has now become the reverse pendulum serve. Ball swinging away from the middle and into the forehand to prevent the backhand flick. But see David there, really happy to come across. He was looking for his backhand flick. Tom's obviously, you know, having to be a little bit careful there and missed it altogether on his serve. So
first tiebreak, nothing to separate these two. Players are entitled to wipe perspiration off every 6 points.
3-4.
And Tom very, very good over the table. Doesn't like to go back too much, Tom Jarvis. Takes the ball very early off the bounce.
yeah, he's got exceptional quick twitch, hasn't he?
Really developed physically as well. Remember when I played the English National Championships in cadets, and see the physique has really developed now. Been gymming hard. And like you say, you've got to even gym harder when you're coming back from an injury like he had, which he's come back from so well.
Tom Jarvis, famous big backswing before he serves.
Yeah.
He almost circles his whole arm.
That's it. A few players, actually. I'll give a shout out to Callum Morrison at this University of Nottingham. He's been doing that serve since he was about 12 years old. And Anton Schallberg of Sweden, actually, I think most famously using that kind of form motion.
That's a beautiful backhand down the line from David, and then set himself up for what looked a simple forehand to follow up. So he didn't take any risk there. David's very good at managing the risk, not taking more risk than he needs if he knows he's going to win the point and break the other person down in a couple of shots' time. Very smart player.
No need to kind of go too hard too early. You know, he does build up the point very well. Spots the right one to then hit as hard as he can with a high enough percentage to.
Bit of a shame for David this year, because he was going to play doubles with Paul Drinkle. And obviously they had to withdraw from that, so he hasn't had any practice in the men's doubles. In the mixed doubles, play with Tintin, they got beaten by Lois Peake and Josh Bennett, the super doubles specialist. Josh, national champion in his own right in doubles. So David actually hasn't played quite as many games as Son.
6-all.
Tom will see later in the final of the men's doubles. He'll be playing with Sam Walker, but he didn't enter the mixed.
Be interesting if Tom does make it through, playing against his doubles partner in the men's singles final. Off the table, friends, on the table, foes.
Yes.
Good work there. That final forehand of Dave Macbeth just going into that crossover section of Jarvis, suffocating him. Very difficult ball to deal with there.
So David, a quarter-finalist last time out in this championships in 2020 when they last held it, and he came up against Sam Walker and was beaten 4-1 in that quarter-final. So he's ranked one place behind Tom in the England list currently. But no real problems getting to this stage in the singles this year. Again,
Very
lovely smooth forehand.
It's very tight at the top, isn't it? I think there's going to be a qualification tournament where everyone outside, I believe the top 3 in England will fight for a Commonwealth Games place for England, actually. So Tom Jarvis will be the top seed in that.
7-9.
Yeah, and that'll be a tournament worth seeing. The English qualifiers for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Coming up in Birmingham in July, so that'll be great to watch. Look out for tickets for those. Tom very still for a long time, gathering his thoughts.
Oh, well. I mean,
Couldn't get that one.
I mean, it's a disappointing end there for T.Jarvis, but D.Macbeath started the point so well. Firing a forehand wide, then into the middle. Got T.Jarvis in no man's land back there. And fortune definitely favoured the Brave there. One game point saved.
11-7 and the first game.
Oh no, should I say game to T.Jarvis? Lapse in concentration there, but a very focused, fiery start there for D.Macbeath. Wow. Well, T.Jarvis the favourite on paper. We knew it was going to be close coming into this head-to-head. T.Jarvis has had some excellent wins in the last couple of seasons. He's beaten the semi-finalist of the Singapore Smash, Yukiya Uda.
And look at all those nice, beautiful backhands and then smooth forehands to follow up. But 4, 5, 6 beautiful backhand topspins from D.Macbeath. Takes him to an 11-7 win in the first game, best of 7.
Yeah, I think the serve of D.Macbeath threw a spanner in the works there for T.Jarvis. Tom's always looking to get in with the flick. There's so much backspin, so much rotation on that D.Macbeath reverse pendulum. It's really hard to lift over the net. So I think Tom's maybe going to be more consistent in the return, higher percentage, trying to touch the ball. Doesn't want to send it long because then Dave's going to attack with good quality spin, which is difficult to counter. So I think if Tom can try and keep the ball tighter over the net, wait for a longer ball to then pounce on, that could be a recipe for success.
Level.
And there is that exact serve, Fraser.
You can see Tom just a bit hesitant there with the flick. And that was a better return. D.Macbeath tried to be a bit crafty there, sending it into the middle. But it's because it's an identical form motion. You don't know where it's going till the last second. You've got to be very relaxed and adaptable.
2-1.
Tom there looking carefully at David and where David's standing, where his preparation might be. Just looking for tiny, tiny cues, but he tried then a fast service as a result, but David was onto it. It wasn't the greatest of serves, wasn't long enough, I don't think.
Not enough surprise factor, yeah.
You can see Tom was looking for something, but you've got to try these things. They don't always come off. So there's the backhand return from Tom. In that occasion, he saw that there wasn't the backspin on the serve, able to get a good backhand flick and then into the fast rally. And in the fast rallies, Tom is so fast. Change of serve. Top edge.
And there we see the flick of Jarvis. Bit better there. Doesn't need to play at 100%. Just in a good enough area to deny D.Macbeath a strong third ball. And then he can settle into the rally then. For me, in the open rallies, I favour Jarvis. I feel as though he has more penetration, more power. More of a chance to hit winners than Macbeth.
5-2.
And in a fixed position, I do fancy Jarvis's backhand. Against the sort of slower ball, I think Jarvis can produce more power. He's got quite a similar technique to Ovtcharov in the way that he comes through.
Yes, he does. Yeah. What a lovely return.
5.
The Chiquita.
Yeah, really bent the ball on the return of serve. And actually didn't create any topspin. He almost came under and around the flick. So it's like a chop side spin flick. Not easy to do, but something all the youngsters are having to learn at a very early age now.
3,
As the game develops over time.
There we see Jarvis coming out on top in the backhand to backhand exchange.
Yeah, you said you fancy him in the rallies.
Yeah, I think D.Macbeath's going to want to try and switch down the line with the backhand. Stretch Jarvis, if possible. Wow.
6-4.
They're the rallies you love to see. From an entertainment standpoint, you want to see loop-to-loop rallies, open play, lob and smash. But of course, these players aren't interested in rallies, are they? They want to finish a point as soon as possible.
What a great return of serve. He read the spin, played the backhand, and just the speed at which he got his wrist over the top of the ball, David. It's wonderful play from the man from Southampton. Now Nottingham. Tom from Lincolnshire originally, who's been playing abroad for a long time now. Oh, David just misses the flick. Just off the end of the side. So they're training to margins of often 2-3 centimetres in terms of the length and the width of the ball. Often it's millimetres in terms of the height, whether you skim the top of the net, choose to go high and get the length. So Tom's got a chance here, Fraser.
Absolutely.
Tried to keep it short and couldn't. Now he's away from the table. He's stuck there, but a big backhand. Yeah, he wasn't prepared to lob, was he? He wanted to attack the backhand despite being stuck away from the table.
Yeah, at this level, you know, when your opponent's back there, you want to try pin them on the backhand because you know anyone's capable at this level of getting back into a rally with a forehand loop. There's no chance of him winning that point, really, unless he comes in with a big counter away from the table. Bit of stretch on there. Beth, side spin smash made it harder for him to loop.
Stability there away from the table from David. Went for a big one to come back. Bit annoyed. Maybe he thought he should have countered harder earlier in the rally. But he's so stable, David. You know, if Tom's not consistent with it, he's got to go for big attacks. And if he's not consistent, David will just will walk away with it with his consistency. Lovely flick return from David. Look at the touch on that forehand flick.
Lovely.
Came across the ball,
Yeah.
bit of side spin, and Tom just unable to get the right positioning and timing as a result.
Where he came with the open racket face there, it wasn't clear until the last minute whether he was going to touch or flick. Something that Paul Drinkall does especially well, the forehand flick.
Yes, he does. Good backhand down the line from David to get it into the big rally. But Fraser, you know, Tom's not winning these long rallies that, you know, you were looking for.
Yeah. I mean, usually he favours himself and fancies himself against many players in the loop-to-loop department. He's given even some of the Chinese juniors a good run for their money in that department. But Dave switching the placement, not letting Jarvis get into a comfort zone. But that time, Jarvis did it in 2 game points to the youngster. Wanting to establish himself on the senior stage, get to his first final. Would be great for him to do that, especially coming back from injury, not so long back.
Yeah. So David needs these 2 and they're against the serve. Oh, he thought he could loop it and he couldn't. Classic half-long serve. Brilliant serve from Tom Jarvis.
Excellent, yep, cannot fault that one bit there. Half long, makes your opponent hesitant, do I flick it, do I loop it? You don't know what to do. And that was shown there in the receive, and Jarvis punished him for it.
Yeah, well, you can see Tom thinking so hard about what serve to do, where he's going to avoid putting himself in trouble from a good return from David and where he can get a good advantage. And that last one, earlier on he did a fast one that didn't work, it was too short, David read it as well. But that last one, beautiful half-long serve. Here's a few rallies from earlier. That backhand flick. You see the wrist on these players.
So much anatomical contortion, isn't there? In the flicks, in the forehands.
Look at that wrist on the backhand. Beautiful. Yeah. And the volunteers, ball boys and girls, clapping as well. I'm glad they're enjoying it. I hope they're inspired by it, and we'll be trying to emulate it next
haven't
week.
they, I guess, right down at the court there, table height. What a way to learn about the game.
Absolutely. And yeah, as a sweater being created as we play, that's great. I wonder who that's going to be on by the end of the game.
Jarvis to serve. Level.
Cho.
I have to get myself one of those.
Net. Level.
It won't help your forehand.
No. Bigger playing surface at least, but
yeah, use it for goalkeeping.
One love.
So then, will that be the game there that kind of relaxes Jarvis, gets him into this semi-final? Because if Macbeath goes 2-0 up there, you know, Jarvis still feeling as though he has a point to prove. Now maybe he feels he's here, more present in this semi.
There's a nice backhand again from David, nice and smooth, good power, not too risky, and right underneath the playing arm of Tom. Tom missed the shot because it was just tucked him up underneath the shoulder and elbow. So good, smart positioning from David.
1-2.
Really coming up and through, Tom. Had some excellent wins in the last few seasons. Excellent rally. As I was saying, beating players such as Gao Ning, Thomas Polanski. He's beaten some of the top Indians. Manav Thakkar was formerly ranked #1 in the world for under-21s. And Yukiya Uda is probably his best win, the semi-finalist of the Singapore Smash.
Oh, that was there for David. You could just hear he hit it. It was just too much of the blade and not enough of the rubber. It made the ball a little bit flat. It just meant the ball clipped the top of the net. Second serve from Tom. Oh, goes for the fast one. Again, David was on that so quickly, but that time Tom read it, moved straight across to the forehand, expected that to come down the line. It did. And Tom actually had to change his grip to play that follow-up after the serve. You could see the blades moving in his hand as he changes the transition from the serve to the forehand follow-up. He dealt with that in milliseconds. Did a great job. Well done, Tom.
That is just inch perfect. If you could get a marker pen and draw on the table where you'd want to place that.
That's very hard to pull your body to the right and then play the ball to the left. Very, very, very difficult. Makes it look so easy. Wow, see the spin on that serve?
Yeah.
Really.
And a gift there.
So we always teach the youngsters, if someone serves off, then and the ball's on the floor on the table spinning, don't just pick it up and give it back to them. Watch it and study the spin. Work out what's actually on it, what they did with it before you pick it up and give it back to them to serve again. There's always something you can learn, even at the end of the rally sometimes. That was a lovely flip,
Jarvis
wasn't it? Yeah.
Came in again with the open racket face, goes down the line, but Jarvis is prematurely positioning himself neutral in the middle. He doesn't want to be doing that. I think if he stands backhand bias, he's better. Because then he's got the footwork to reach the wide forehand and he's in the position to play the backhand.
5-all.
Dave's varying the spin and speed well.
He is.
If he plays fast to Jarvis, I think this could be over in the next 3 games. I think Jarvis wants it fast. Dave switches the placement, power and spin, then he can get Jarvis a little bit more passive.
5-6.
Yeah. David's mixing it. You see there, he went for an extra fast one, because what you can't do if you're mixing it is to play soft too often. So you have to play some power shots as well. David tried it there, it didn't work, but that's got to be a part of his game if he's mixing the pace to keep Tom off of his fast timing. And again,
wow.
Yeah.
So Jarvis there made the space, wrapping around that ball like a Christmas present.
Yeah, he's loving that ball. Trying to hold on to it, get as long a dwell time as you can to pull the ball around.
So the action you did there with your arm, Colin, you showed me came around the side, just because it's great when you're out of position to play with spin rather than speed, because if you're out of position and you play with power, all your opponent has to do is block it wide. If you add the spin, it gives you more time to come back into the table.
Yeah, need the recovery time. David could have gone back from the table there and defended, but no, he stood up to that one, tried it, but edge of his bat, the ball pinged off out of the court.
You could see the intention, couldn't you? You wanted to go down the line there to the open space.
Yeah.
Just so much zip on that Jarvis forehand. Very deep on the table, difficult to block.
5-9.
A few more errors this game, and the serve receive from Dave. Made a service error with the reverse pendulum. He's made a couple of receive errors outright. But that's probably a bit of credit there as well to the Jarvis serve.
Yeah, and that's enough to make it 8-5 down instead of 8-5 up.
Exactly. It's not the fancy shots that win table tennis matches, it's the little things, the scaffolding.
We always remember and practice the big ones, but
Yeah.
it's the many small ones. It's the small
6.
details often that have an even greater bearing. And these players will train not only playing the big shots all day, but the tiny little movements around the net, off the side, switching down the line, making the ball cut away from the opponent as you switch fast and long. All the little subtleties that go with it.
10-7.
Just such a relaxed silhouette, Dave.Macbeath, when he plays. Never looks like he's straining himself too much. Just there was already so much pace on the ball. All he had to do is put the bat on there, a little bit of after motion, just guided it back on the table. Beautiful play. Wow.
Yeah,
just
and then
massive
mixes it up again. So, not afraid to hit it hard when the ball is right for him, and he's saving game points. He's saving game points here. The best of 7.
Perhaps we could see a Tom Jarvis timeout if Dave wins this other point. Saving 3. Wouldn't to be surprising. Well, will he call it?
10.
3 game points saved. Pressure zone now. That's like Tom Jarvis believes he can win this point without the need of a timeout to break the momentum Dave.Macbeath generated.
He just popped that over the end, David. He's 52 years of age, I saw it, and Tom was actually in trouble some of the time against 52-year-old. And Lorestas' son Larry was also playing in this tournament, 14 years of age. Great father and son duo. To qualify for these championships is amazing, and for Lorestas to show such a good performance against Tom was really great to see. I mean, Tom took it in the end, and I think he's a younger and fitter man, obviously. Yeah. But Lorestas did a brilliant job, left-hander. Yeah.
It's a game for all table tennis, isn't it? Jarvis then overcame Cheyenne Saraj, the under-21 champion.
Well, yeah, I saw a bit of that as well, and Cheyenne has been playing fantastic this weekend, and he won the under-20. I'm delighted for Cheyenne. He didn't win the national juniors, but has now taken the under-21, so that's a great feather in his cap forever.
Absolutely.
But I have to say, when David caught Cheyenne at the other end, Cheyenne had been playing so well, and David just looks so smooth and so much more mature, and the 30-year-old really had too much for Cheyenne. So it just gives you a clue as just to how good these two players are.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Cheyenne got a bit of cramp in his match as well.
Was it cramp? Yeah, I know he had to take a medical timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It swayed the balance for his career there, beating Darius Knight, winning this under-21 title. Hadn't won one, I think, since the under-14 nationals, so come full circle for Cheyenne. Congratulations. Macbeath beat Graham Barella and then Connor Green on his route to the semi-final.
Yeah, Graham now helping coach him with the England performance squad, so good to see Graham on that pathway, but Graham's playing very well as well. Connor Green, up and comer, was #1 seed for the under-21s, but couldn't take it. Rhys Davis beat him. Rhys played really, really well. But you can just see the maturity of these players, 22 years old, 30 years old. They've been honing their game for years. They know what their game is. Their neural networks are more mature. That's just a physical factor. So it's great that we've got some of these under-21s coming up and pushing them, and that's great. But these are the next level up. And the winner of this plays Sam Walker. And as a result, we're going to have a new men's champion by the end of the day.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
None of these three players have won it before. And then in the men's doubles, Tom plays with Sam Walker.
Speaking about maturity, Colin, I think it was a good decision from the Table Tennis England men's coaches to have Jarvis on the bench for England when they've been playing their big World Team Championship events, because it exposes Jarvis to the big stage, the big pressure situations, gets him used to the surroundings, and I think that's quite telling and quite obvious in how he seems less phased at these stages now. He's settling in.
5-4.
An excellent, fast and furious rally there.
Yeah, Tom looks a little bit annoyed, and it just showed there that I think if Tom can't get David away from the table, then David can hold these backhand to backhands quite happily.
Seems as though David's is spinnier, Jarvis is more powerful.
Yeah, flatter and quicker.
Yeah.
And David's a little bit more likely to spin the ball up when he needs to. David will mix it up and he'll play over the top of the ball and take it early if he has to. But typically Tom's looking to get a higher contact point on the ball, hitting over the top of the ball. David a little bit more on average, hitting up the back of the ball, just slightly.
Beautiful play from Jarvis there. Encouraging himself. Came in there. It was a slight neck cord which helped his cause, but he comes in with the open shoulders, not obvious where he's going.
Yeah, and the width that he got on it at that speed, very, very hard to get the ball to come down that soon over the net.
Yeah.
Just goes to show the amount of topspin they're getting to bring the ball down on the other side of the table.
7.
Keeping the ball tight. Macbeth flick couldn't help him that time.
Yeah, and just a bit of body language. Both players just a little bit edgy now.
Business end of this, or approaching the business end of this match. This could be a make it or break it situation for Dave. Doesn't want to have to fight from 3-1 down. Has the serves.
Yeah, serving from the middle and forehand this time.
6.
Excellent.
7.
And the Jarvis push there, just where Dave wanted it. If you're going to push, you've got to play fast and probably wide, preferably. Yeah.
Well, Tom did very well to pick up that fourth ball because the third ball still had a kick on it off the table from the serve. So there's some residual side spin on that, and that would have made it very easy for Tom to miss that one. He dealt with it beautifully. You just see he twitched at the last minute, covered the slight fade of the ball, played his fourth ball counter-attack beautifully. Gives him an 8-6 lead and service. These are the small details that make the difference to winning and losing at this level.
I like that serve from Tom there. Again, in that kind of half-long region, and he stamps his foot because the sound of the ball, as you know, can be an indication of how much spin's on it.
Absolutely.
The quieter, the spinnier.
Good return into the crossover of Tom. Made Tom play it late. David will be disappointed to have missed that fourth ball forehand topspin. Wasn't the most difficult of shots. Not that anything's easy at this level.
7.
And the first of the 4 game points saved. Saved 3 last time. Can he save these 3? Will he go for the reverse pendulum, or will he try and surprise Jarvis? Something maybe longer. Goes for the big backhand rev, but overcooks it. Tom Jarvis secures the 4th game, 11 points to 7. And here he is, on screen, 1 game away from his first senior English National Championship final.
So for everything that I've been saying about how good David is and what his strengths are, he finds himself 3-1 down against Tom Jarvis. Fraser, what do you think that Tom's been doing well just to keep his himself in front in these last couple of games?
I think he hit the nail on the head with the minor adjustments he's been making on his flick. The game that D.Macbeath won, just to be honest, outserved Jarvis. Hacked reverse pendulum serve into the forehand. Jarvis wasn't comfortable flicking. Maybe Dave needs to revert back to that service tactic. In the rally, I think Jarvis is becoming more comfortable now. He's getting used to the pace and rhythm of Macbeth. I don't think Macbeth's going to want to enter too many rally situations, so I think he's going to want to be more aggressive on the third ball, preferably. Perhaps touch a bit more on the Jarvis serve rather than flick to deny Jarvis an opening third ball attack.
Wow. So you're saying that Macbeth's going to have to extend his game in both directions, both with touch, short play around the net, and with bigger first attacks.
I do. I think he's going to be more aggressive,
well,
even with a touch.
That's interesting, because that's going to add that risk to his game that I was saying, and he manages so well.
Yeah.
But if we extend that, then the risk might be greater. He might not be able to hold on, but if that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, I feel that's the risk he's got to take.
So start of the 5th game, Tom Jarvis 3-1 up. David got to win this game to survive, otherwise he's out in the semi-final, and it'll be Tom that goes through to play Sam Walker in the final of the men's singles later this afternoon.
Excellent extension there. I mean, he was stretched. You could hear the grunt. So much muscle going into that forehand. And he bent his wrist a bit to impart a bit of side spin, guide it away from Macbeth off the angle. And the further away from the table you are, harder it can be sometimes to make an angle depending on where you stood. Timeout called from D.Macbeath. This one's slipping through his fingers and into the hands of his younger opponent, Tom Jarvis. If you were Emma Vickers, Colin, what would you be advising to D.Macbeath right now?
Well, I think you're right. I think he's got to keep the return of serve short, get him first, not too slow when he gets in with that first attack. I'm not going to go as risky as you. I'm going to go, you know what, you can hold nicely. I'm going to take a chance that Tom can't outspeed me, that he can't out-consistent me, and I'm going to stick at the moment to that belief. But there's a big risk in that one. If you play steady, Tom plays well, Tom will take it. So there's kind of, you know, my approach there is banking that Tom can't raise his game further and stay consistent.
Okay.
But point by point, you have to keep adjusting your decisions about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'm being too safe and it wouldn't bring him back, but hey. Well, there's a good example. David was strong, he was safe enough, and Tom did rise to the occasion and did put in the extra speed. So maybe we've got to do it your way, Fraser.
Possibly so. I think you're right about the philosophy of, you know, maybe seeing if Tom Jarvis could raise the level, testing that capability. But I do think now at this situation that the philosophy of, you know, not taking a risk, being a risk, is true. I think Dave now needs to just give it his all.
Yeah.
Put Jarvis under more pressure, give him a bit less time. Time that's the key, really.
And the uncomfortable thing for David is then that he's then playing Tom's game.
Yeah, true. He enters Jarvis's sort of home ground, playing hard to hard.
So we were saying earlier that table tennis is about perception, then decision, then execution. And there's massive decision questions now for David. How do you approach this?
That was good play there.
5.
Nice flick from Jarvis. D.Macbeath keeps the bat high, timing point early. Had all the mechanics of a nice forehand counter there. Good placement as well into the middle of Tom.
Let 2-5.
Altering the service position a little bit more now, playing the reverse pendulum from the forehand.
Mm-hmm.
Like we see Pitchford doing quite often, actually.
Yeah. hacking it across court into Tom's forehand, so Tom can't get across and play his backhand banana flick.
There's contact on the backhand there.
Dropped off, didn't it?
Did do, yeah. I wonder if there's a little bit of damp on the ball. The players don't look as though there was facially. Usually, sometimes you'd see a player sort of checking their rackets to say, was there wet on that ball? But I don't think that was the case.
Well, he's certainly drying his rubber. Yeah, a wet surface on that. It's only fast and spinny and got high friction when it's dry. And it hasn't got the dust on or any wet. When it is wet,
That was
will slip off.
That was
class,
excellent play there.
Yeah.
D.Macbeath put it twice into the same spot. He could see that Jarvis was moving against the momentum as if to cover the backhand. Macbeath plays it into the forehand again against Jarvis's momentum. That was really, really good table awareness.
Yeah, David's managing this mental balance so well back at 5-all now for all that we've been saying about the different ways of approaching the second half of this game.
Looks like he's sort of recovering quicker after the serve as well, which could maybe intimidate Jarvis, who's looking in front of him at Macbeath saying, oh, he looks more ready than he was before.
Yeah.
Time out now from Tom Jarvis.
Yeah, so David took the time out. And now Tom's called it, or maybe his dad Dave's called it.
Once it's done and dusted in 5 games, the second seed.
Yeah, the bananas are going in on both sides of the table.
Yeah.
So you see there that Emma's not talking all the time. That's what she was saying in the commentary earlier, that she prefers just to say 2 or 3 things that might have some import. And that's the way that David likes it. He's obviously got enough to think about, and he just wants 1 or 2 little tips. So Tom has just tried to change that. We see the mental balance has gone back towards David. Tom's just trying to disrupt that. And we'll see now whether David can keep that together. And Tom now under pressure to keep the speed and power and the consistency all together against someone who's very, very smooth.
Well, if you were a betting man, you'd have made a fine return on D.Macbeath coming back the way he has here. I think it was 4-1 to Jarvis in the first sort of half of this 5th game. D.Macbeath with an excellent run of points. Yep, good work from Jarvis. I think I favoured David after he played a couple of those backhands there, and Jarvis should step back, but Tom is very good away from the table.
Yep.
You won't often see Jarvis lobbing, nor Macbeath. Tends to try and just keep attacking.
7-all.
A big show. Whenever you can see Macbeath swaying for that Chiquita, you fear for Jarvis because of the amount of side spin that's on that ball. Fine margins though.
Yeah,
Denied
on
by
that
his
occasion,
net cord.
David just top edging the ball, flying off. And that's 3 errors from David. The first one was a forehand wide of the backhand, missed by 1-2 centimetres. Then there was the short rally, and then that one as well. So 3 errors. You wouldn't call any of them unforced errors at this level. But he's going to have to just keep himself calm and confident now. Put that out of his mind. He's a point behind and not far away from going out of the championship, but a bit of luck there.
Yeah, he really needed that. He was wrong-footed by the Jarvis push. Salt in the wounds there, but Jarvis has the serve. He needs to focus on the first of these 2. 8-all. What a counter. I mean, the backhand topspin from Jarvis wasn't bad at all. But Macbeath read it well, stepped around, put all cards on the table and drew an ace forehand.
Yeah, Tom did okay there, but not quite long enough maybe. Macbeath, that was a set piece for him.
Let. 8-9.
Smart serve from Jarvis down the line, really wide of the forehand, but just caught the net, so they'll have to take it again. Long serve with backspin. Oh,
wow.
Tom, that's absolutely fantastic.
What a combination that was.
Yeah, so all the England players doing this now. Liam Pitchford's been doing that for some time. This backhand switch with extra side spin across down the line, and using that extra little mini diagonal that you can get there.
See that from Haramoto a lot as well. Going cross court and then down the line. Backhand dominant, 9-all. Oh, well.
Is that on?
Sometimes we see those coming down. We saw it at the World Championships.
Yeah, it comes down surprise. Yeah, and the player didn't realise it was going to come down on the table.
Yeah. It was Fan Zhendong versus Wang Chichin. A rally like that where Fan Zhendong just ended up touching it on the table. But 10-9 now to D.Macbeath. Light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps. Let's see.
Well, this might be his one chance to get back in the match. 10-9 and serving 3-1 down, David. Tom's been a bit quicker, a bit more dominant. That's a gorgeous shot.
Jarvis didn't think that was going on, but the arc on the backhand meant that it did.
Just the extra topspin made the ball arc and kick down onto the table. Tom didn't even expect that, so that must have been more topspin than he's been getting any other part of the game.
Yeah.
At game point, fantastic.
Excellent play.
Hats off to David there for pulling that out, because he had a bad start, a great recovery after the timeouts. Second timeout, he did lose his momentum a bit, but came back strongly at the end. So wonderful.
Excellent play, and that arc on the backhand there epitomises the fact that you've got to be very relaxed in those 10 situations to play with good quality. As soon as your arm stiffens up and you overthink, it's not possible to play that kind of arc. So credit to Macbeath there. Both timeouts have been used, so now no sort of chance for either player to break the momentum apart from game intervals.
That sweater's not getting much bigger.
It's not, is it?
Not
Perhaps he was focused on the match. It was that good, you know?
Yeah, I think they're watching more than knitting.
Yeah, I think so on that occasion.
And that was the last one. Yeah, maybe it was a tiny. When we said the topspin brought it down, it just did. Maybe a tiny edge, but it's still a great backhand cross court long into Tom's backhand. So well done, David. Tom's still holding a lead 3-2. Oh, big one from David.
Hey, come on, let's go.
Caught the top of the net.
Some good intention there. Top of the net, just denying that backhand flick.
Oh, unlucky there for Tom. Oh, and then lucky.
Well, instant karma, wasn't it?
Yeah, all
Net
sorts
for
happened in
David,
that.
edge for Tom.
Yeah, Tom did really well at the start of that rally, and then the net and the edge. Well, can Tom race it away? 2-love, 3-2.
I think it was the right idea there with the forehand flick. Bit too shallow on the table. You've got to really come over the table. Like we see a lot of Asian players, particularly the Koreans, being amazing at coming over the table to sweep it. Dave preferred the flick. Fine margin, just missed. Great start from Tom.
Oh.
Well, that was just unbelievable. Stepped around, made his mind up. He was like, I'm going for this flick. And
Yeah, Tom didn't serve that one so wide to the forehand. And, yeah, David just walked onto it. Again, Tom pulling up that flick with lots and lots of topspin. It is letting David in with the follow-up topspin.
Dave catching the edge slightly that time, so tends to even itself out, doesn't it? Calling across the course of a match.
Yeah, a little bit lucky, yeah. Good. Tom, fantastic ball. Slow into the crossover. David slightly out of position as a result, had to lift it, and then the follow-up from Tom, really sharp.
Just a game of chess there, wasn't it? Like a mobile chess. Kind of just played one move to set up the next, and it was the next one where he took the piece.
Tom is always looking at his opponent before he settles down to serve. He wants to know where they are physically, where they are mentally as well. Again, that slow backhand topspin from Tom. He's happy with it. That was a much better one. It was a kind of a very short but heavy topspin so that it was dropping by the time it got to David. Well played, Tom.
Got to time the counter perfectly to be able to counter that kind of ball.
Very hard to counter that one.
Yeah, look at the length on the touch there. Using the side of the table rather than the length made David guess. Shall I go for a big attack or shall I just brush up the back of it? The back break of that one, isn't it? The half long, you know. Totally.
Half long wide of the forehand, and then the forehand corner of the table is completely in your way under your armpit.
Yeah.
3-6.
Haven't seen any really negative energy from either players. They've been so composed.
Yeah. They're both looking like winners still.
Yeah.
That's the way you want them.
Dave's reverse pendulum get him out of trouble.
Yeah. David looking around the table at where he might aim for. Tom getting into position. There's a lot of backhand spin-ups from Tom. I mean, David's letting him have them. He's serving just over the end of the table, allowing Tom to pick it up. But Tom's actually able to cope with the next attack from David. So this has been a game where Tom has been fantastic at retrieving against David's big balls.
Mm. Yeah.
3.
That serve there slightly wider. Macbeath was stretched slightly. Couldn't get the blade under his armpit to generate the spin and brush up the back of the ball. 8-3 to Jarvis here, looking very likely to advance.
Yeah, and this is what we said, is that if Jarvis can play with the speed and the power, but also maintain the consistency, and to his credit, in this sixth game, he's been unbelievably consistent whilst spinning the ball up with his backhand and then playing aggressive shots afterwards.
Macbeath feels the need to stay closer to the table because Jarvis does have more power in his strikes.
Yeah, David walked into position well for that one. 9-4, but Jarvis 2 points from victory.
Yep, full there.
4.
Such a difficult stroke. Just down that white line of the table, the short side. And 6 match points here for Tom Jarvis. Long push and a backhand of swagger there down the line just to put the icing on the cake. Tom Jarvis advances to the semi-final.
That was the best of the backhands that Tom Jarvis has played all the way through that game, and
That
he showed
concludes
that the
the first
power
session.
and the
Our
speed
final
and the
start at
consistency
1 p.m.
altogether was just a little bit too much for David on that occasion. 11-4, 4 games to 2. Tom Jarvis into the final against Sam Walker.
Like you say, a new finalist is going to be crowned. That was inevitable as Pitchford didn't enter due to the WTT contender Doha, I believe. Is that right?
That's
Star
right.
Contender,
That's
yep.
right.
So an exciting prospect here for the crowd. Who's it going to be? We'll find out later on today.
Yeah, and Table Tennis England had to support that decision and support Liam to go out to that, because it makes such a difference around world rankings and Olympics and funding. So
It does, and at the end of the day, as a table tennis player and fan in England, you know, we rely on funding, and Pitchford's so close to entering the top 10 in the world. If he can do well there in Doha, he could increase our chances of funding. Congratulations to Tom Jarvis there, and commiserations